Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. There's been a lot of fear since we last checked in. The last time we checked in, we were watching for weekly lower highs. We were seeing the first signs of a shift in the market environment. Since then, some headlines have pushed things in that direction. Monthly consolidation is underway. Is the bull run over? I'll show you what I'm looking at. So first things first, before we get into the technical analysis, just want to talk about the headlines because they're piling on right now. Whether you're looking at Elon Musk and no longer accepting Bitcoin because of environmental blah, blah, blah. Whether you're looking at the headline today about Binance being investigated by the IRS and the US government. These headlines you will find, and they happen in the MJ cycle, they happen in all cycles, that they start piling on more and more significantly once the market cycle has shifted. And by shifting market cycle, I mean shifting sentiment, shifting trends, shifting volume. And that has obviously been underway for the last couple of days now. So my point that I made on Twitter was, if you give that exact same Elon and Tesla headline and you put it out either right here or right here or right here, it doesn't have anywhere near the same effect. This was the bears positioned for a weekly lower high, and this was just a little push. And then the stop losses trigger, and then the momentum comes down, and then the headlines start circulating. So again, I just want to stress that the market cycle is more important than the headline, and it's the headlines that magnify that. And you can have the same, in the MJ sector, when we were in Blue Sky Breakout back in 2018 and 19 and running insanely, an upgrade from an analyst was an instant gap up and a massive move. And if you're in a downtrend, you get those same upgrades, they mean nothing. So market cycle is more important than the headlines. Obviously, some headlines, are going to be irrelevant to whatever market cycle you're in. But I mean, Tesla no longer accepting Bitcoin for, come on. So one more thing I want to point out, and if you've been following along for the last couple of months, there were a couple red flags we were watching. Certainly well aware that a weekly lower high could be forming. The fact that nobody was bearish on Twitter when we were up at these levels made me a little bit more cautious. And again, we were making the comparisons to the US marijuana stock Trulieve and just how very similar that they were leading into monthly consolidation. And that is now coming true as far as our high, low, new all-time high, higher low, lower high, equilibrium, one more all-time high, rollover. That's Bitcoin on the left. Trulieve did this in advance. We had the same equilibrium, the same bull break to an all-time high, and then they rolled over. The biggest difference between how these two daily charts led to monthly consolidation is just the fact that Bitcoin had a solid bounce, and Trulieve, if it were going to be the same bounce, Trulieve would have done this at this point in time. Instead, Trulieve broke all supports and then saw that bounce. Bitcoin only broke 2 out of the major supports and then saw that bounce. But they're now roughly catching up to where each other are at this point. The biggest difference on the monthly charts, again, it was just the same setup. And no, I don't think that this one individual USMJ name is influencing Bitcoin. I think it's just showing us this is what a massive breakout looks like and a shift from accumulation to distribution to see monthly consolidation underway. We had a bearish reversal candle into monthly consolidation. Bearish reversal candle. Now we're starting monthly consolidation. And the question from here for the next few weeks is, how much follow through do the bears see? We had a pattern of a higher low every single month for 7 months in a row. That has now broken. And the weekly downtrend, let's go back full screen. The weekly downtrend has now confirmed lower high and lower low. Now, there's 2 things to be watching for. A lower high, a confirmed trend change with no follow through means zoom out and scout a flag. Could this be a monthly bear flag? Absolutely. At this point, that is still a possibility, and we still have a lot of space for that to remain a possibility. If we're looking at the low of the COVID dump, we could pull back to 42,000 and still be a 382 retracement and a monthly bull flag. So that level matters to me. I would need to see the bulls fairly quickly regain the daily trend in their favor from here, or maybe one more leg down straight into a daily trend change for us to say, okay, keep an eye out for a monthly bull flag. If the pullback is more than 42,000, we're then going to be scouting the potential of an equilibrium. You better believe the cryptocurrency space will get boring again. Not saying it's happening now, but one scenario where cryptocurrency would get boring is if we pulled back to the monthly EMA 12, let's say we drop to the upper 30,000s, then we see a bounce and a monthly lower high. By the time we get to fall winter, it's going to just be a real tight range and volatility is going to be shrinking significantly. Now, I haven't seen that happen on a monthly time frame in cryptocurrency ever, but if this were a stock, that's what I would be watching for. And guess who is doing that? Our good friend Mr. Tesla. Monthly equilibrium heading down to test support. Could confirm a monthly downtrend, but it was the same thing with the massive breakout, a pullback that was big enough to not be considered a bull flag, monthly lower high, and the volatility here compared to what we've been seeing here has been way less significant. Dominance chart. The only thing I care about on this dominance chart, change the 4-hour trend and see a bull cross of the EMA 12 and 26 for the first time on this many-month drop. If that is not happening, nothing is changing and altcoins remain stronger than Bitcoin. So I'm just keeping it as simple as possible. If the red line is not crossing the blue line to the upside, then I don't care what this chart's doing because it's not giving me any new information. ETH USD, daily consolidation underway. Still overall holding on just fine. A little bit of an uptick in volume, although it's hard to trust volume on these pullbacks because these exchanges keep going down and it's really leaving me blind to a certain degree as far as, how much volume are we seeing on this bounce? Because there's data disruptions and the charts freeze and the exchanges freeze and we don't get the complete picture of volume. So I don't like that fact. But if you're looking at the ETH chart and the weekly time frame, you're just constantly reminding yourself, yes, there's nice bounces along the way in the short term, but it's entirely possible we are headed for weekly consolidation right now, which could mean we're heading down to the low 3000s. So that personally is keeping me a bit more cautious, still playing these bounces. And I did trade Ethereum on this flash dump when things got hairy last. And the way that I did it is just scaling in. I had an order at 38.11, 37.11, 36.11, and I think I had 35.22. And I was a bit bummed that last order did not fill because I did have a week maker on this bounce. I mean, we bounced 10% in 6 minutes. As soon as that happens, I start scaling out to remain protective. And then you throw on top of it the exchanges acting a little bit sketchy. I was even a bit quicker to exit because, again, you give me those gains that fast and you tell me there's a risk that I could be locked out of the account, I'm locking that in. But it would have been a big winner had that last little order filled. It would have been, instead of a week maker, it would have been a week and a half maker fairly easily. So that's just the way that I scaled in. And by the end of it, I probably had 40 to 50% of my cash filled in positions. So if we had flushed down to 3,000, I would have been fine because I would have, gone all the way down to 3,000 and had an average that would have been around maybe 3,400 or so, which I would have been comfortable with. Then I exited everything by the time we were just looking for an hourly lower high. Just your standard zoom out, change the 5-minute trend, hourly EMA 12 resistance, a massive bounce, scout that lower high. So I've been all cash since then, and there's been a couple nice bounces in between, but I do feel another leg down is most likely here. So I am remaining patient for 4-hour oversold conditions on Ethereum, and I will be looking to start scaling in again on a break of 35,000. Again, just being conservative and being patient, knowing that we are very due for weekly consolidation. If that happens, we're going to be watching Bitcoin for daily consolidation to be approaching. So if we see another leg down on Bitcoin, we're just watching these hourly lower highs and hourly EMA 12. It's a very clear guide for the bears. And if 46,000 breaks, the 4-hour RSI will start to get pretty crushed, and then the daily will start approaching oversold. If the bulls get over hourly EMA 12 while holding the bottom, that's a big win in the short term for them. But again, we're playing the zoom out game. Any bounce follow through, we're just going to look for a 4-hour lower high. If we change the 4-hour trend, we're zooming out and looking for a daily lower high. So it's a big step backward in terms of the bulls now having to prove one time frame at a time to regain trends in their favor. So monthly consolidation, and here's how you break it down. Bitcoin is in a monthly uptrend. It's in a weekly, daily, 4-hour, and hourly downtrend right now. So everything on the short term is favoring the bears. Just keep that in mind. The market environment has shifted now from where it was over the last 6 months. And the plays that worked really well for the last 6 months are not going to work as well in this current environment. You have to adapt and change your trading style. If you trade in the exact same way with the exact same aggression, you're going to get back a ton of your profits that worked well on the 6 months on the way up. Just keep that in mind. Bears are a lot more confident scouting lower highs now that we've had this little rollover. If the dominance chart starts to change the 4-hour trend and see that bull cross, that's the scenario we're going to be looking for ETH and other big-time bull runners to see weekly consolidation. Best case scenario for the ETH bulls, set a weekly higher low holding EMA 12 while Bitcoin sets a monthly higher low. That will keep ETH looking just fine, bigger picture, comparative to Bitcoin. ETH BTC still just fine. We can pull back for 2-3 days from here and still be just fine. Daily EMA 12 has been holding for a month and a half, and that's going to be our short-term guide. Simple statement: if daily EMA 12 is support on ETH BTC, ETH is the place to be trading as a bull, not Bitcoin. Litecoin. So Litecoin on the weekly time frame, the EMA 12 is important, and we've held it every test to keep this weekly uptrend going. So anything above 207.10 will be a higher low. The daily time frame, next time we bounce, we'll just look for a lower high. Nah. So yeah, not really much clarity for me on the daily time frame for Litecoin. So sticking to the weekly because it's much more clear. And the LTC BTC chart, the daily higher lows are important. If we see a bear break of 5706, weekly consolidation will be underway for the first time since our bottom. And again, that's going to see a lot of momentum leave Litecoin, in my opinion, if that does take place. And if there are altcoins that are keeping their daily uptrends, with the BTC pairings, the ones that lose them are going to lose favor. XRP, I like this weekly equilibrium. Nice and pretty. Worth watching for the next month. High, high, low, lower high, and scouting a higher low, anything above 886 with EMA 12 support as a bit of a backup as well. So bulls can be scouting for a play off that level longer term. And what's notable is XRP BTC is stronger. We had a higher high here. Granted, there was no follow through, but it's not an equilibrium. And we still have the weekly uptrend here. So as long as the weekly higher lows are holding on the BTC pairing, we're going to watch for the US dollar pairing to hold 886. Link USD all-time high, but weekly consolidation underway. EMA 12, a good guide just like Litecoin. So that's what we'll be watching. And I've noticed more on Link, it's definitely very volatile, but the pullbacks that we have from all-time highs are massive. With this was a 60% pullback and then a 35% pullback, and at this point we're down 20% pullback. But we are still in a weekly uptrend. Daily time frame doesn't have a ton of clarity for me. Hourly chart, bear break with a lack of follow through. If these altcoins bear break with a lack of follow through, and Bitcoin does not bear break, then we have hourly falling wedges. And it's key that Bitcoin can't break that low, and if it does, it has to bounce right away to keep this pattern alive. But if bear breaks do not see follow through, scout these falling wedges. I just traded a falling wedge on Stock.NIO. No, it was Tesla. Tesla falling wedge today, and it was just a quick flip, just looking for a 15-minute lower high. But again, it was these bear breaks with a lower low with a lack of follow through that had me scouting that bounce. And I was personally, the way I played it is I would buy the break, and then as soon as I would buy the new low of the day. And keep in mind, I'm watching QQQ as my bigger picture correlation, and QQQ is expecting an hourly higher low as the most likely scenario. So for the altcoins, we want to see Bitcoin holding the low, ideally. But as soon as the bear break took place, I make an entry. I exit half on the little bounce. We see another bear break. I make an entry, exit half, and then I ride the second half for the bounce follow through. No home run, just a base hit, 1% move. But falling wedges, worth paying attention to on these altcoins that have them. And we will lose them from being falling wedges. The bears will get follow through on a bear break if Bitcoin were to fall under 46,000, in my opinion. So again, the ideal scenario for falling wedges to remain on hourly timeframes for altcoins is for Bitcoin to maintain 46,000 and just get tighter and tighter until we eventually break bullish for a 4-hour bounce to scout for a 4-hour lower high. There's two ways it's going to play out here into tomorrow, and that's one of them. And the other is another clear big break to the downside and a lot more bear control. Where are we? Link BTC. Link BTC is still a daily uptrend and holding daily EMA 12. So again, if you're looking bullish and looking for bounces, I would look for the altcoins that are still strong on their BTC pairing daily charts. YFI USDT, big time drop. Daily EMA 12 is support now. Hourly, lower high, lower low, clear downtrend. 6,000 is coming into play. It's less of a clear falling wedge. I don't even need to draw a trend line because the EMAs are doing it for me. But the BTC pairing is correlating on the way down. They both have to break bullish together for a significant move up comparative to Bitcoin. So that's where we stand in the short term. I'm not sure I'm going to play if it is a falling wedge, attempt a falling wedge play. I guess ETH has a double bottom now at 35.30. So there is a potential play off of that level. And again, the bulls on a falling wedge are hoping for a bounce on the 4-hour time frame to get underway. Need to see Bitcoin set up an hourly trend change. On this bounce, anything under 51 is just a lower high. And we have to then set a higher low and confirm an hourly trend change. Hope you're well. Hope it wasn't too painful on the drop. Get used to it. This is the volatility I love. This is where, I make more money on this kind of day than I do on the slow grind up, which is why I leave those long-term no-touch positions to do the work for me, because that is not my trading style. This is my trading style. Good luck. Feel free to ask any questions. Do good things. Have a good day. So I'm out of end of video content here. We're going to go back into the archives. This is from 11 years ago. The original video is like 45 minutes long. I've edited it down into about 10 or 12 minutes, cutting out all the illegal activities. But essentially it was sophomore year of college and watched Into the Wild and was inspired and just said, all right, we're going to Yellowstone. I'm going, whatever break we had, who's coming with me? So a few of my buddies jumped on board. We took a car 36 hours straight to get there. We went into the backwoods for a week. We did a week-long hike, and we made so many mistakes. We were so dumb, but it was so much fun. We didn't bring anywhere near enough food. I went into the backcountry of Yellowstone. We were hiking 6 to 8 miles a day, and I brought a backpack. I didn't even have a camping backpack. We didn't bring anything in terms of sleeping mats, and we had a tent that fits 4 people, and it was 4 of us men. So we were literally cigar-shaped, 4 of us in this tent, and we ran out of, we were hiking on fumes. Essentially, we had a ramen noodles pack every night to be looking forward to, and we're really lucky to have made it out alive. So here is the PG-13 version, PG version of Yellowstone trip. Let's see, at that point in time, I was 20 years old. I wasn't even 21 yet. Maybe just 21. Here we go.
Oh, there it is. Good day. I'm not about to shred this. Dan, you just pop yourself out that top window there.